Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to The Walk. Well, we have been on this subject about when God moves for a long time, for probably, I think, well over a week now. And we have talked about his major moves. We've talked about the fact that he moves very subtly. One of the topics that I skipped over that was in the original outline was when God moves to impact just one person. The reason I skipped that over was because there's always a ripple effect. There's like, even when I think of when Jesus said that he would leave the 99 to go get the one sheep, well, there's a ripple effect there. The 99 are affected because he walked away to get the other sheep. When that sheep is returned and put back in the fold, it always impacts more than one person. Now, that's not to say that God doesn't love us as individuals. He certainly does. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about when God tells you it's time to move, and that's part of God's movement. So there's several signs that God might be telling you to move. I can't say we've all, but you'll have those moments where you're sitting in church and the pastor is talking about a particular subject and your heart just feels like it's going to beat right out of your chest. You know that that's for you. You know that you know that you know. And that's an inner prompting or a conviction. Now, sometimes it will come from a message. Sometimes it will happen in your prayer closet when you're praying and you're all by yourself and it's just you and the Lord. And what you'll find is over time, this is a persistent tug, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. Now, another sign that God is telling you to move and giving you direction is when doors close. Opportunities that you thought were there suddenly are not there, and those doors are closing in your face. That happened to me last spring. I was applying for jobs because I got laid off. The school district I was working for had budgets cuts, and I decided I would go after a lot of prayer, I decided I would go into private behavior therapy. And I'm going into these clinics and I just know that I know that I know that it's not right. And some of them called me back, some of them didn't. And when I started to apply in North Carolina, all of the doors flew wide open. So I made a big move and I went to North Carolina. Sometimes you'll get confirmation, and that confirmation can happen from another person. It can happen from scripture. It can happen from a sermon. But like you'll have this inner tug and you'll be like, no, I don't think that's God. I think that's kind of me. I think that, this is just something that popped into my head, even though you kind of have an idea that it didn't. And then you'll get confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. People will tell you something. You'll have a sermon about it. You'll read a book about it. You'll have scripture about it. All of a sudden it's popping up in your social media like crazy. And that will be a confirmation. Now, sometimes this movement is a very big upheaval of what you've been doing and what has been happening in your life. Good example, my move to North Carolina. And when you make the decision to move, even though it's an enormous amount of upheaval in your life, that decision brings an unexplainable peace. And you have peace about your decision. And then that move's going to bring you new opportunities. When you are going through this move, you want to be going for godly counsel. You may want to talk to your pastor. You may want to talk to somebody who's like a spiritual mentor or a spiritual mom or dad to you, and talk to them about what's going on and what you're feeling prompted. These moves are important because they're a huge part of the development of our faith. When God tells you to move and you step out and you move and God blesses it, and he blesses it in a mighty way, that grows your faith. It adds to your testimony of, look what God has done in my life. So there's some practical steps to discern whether or not God is telling you to move. One of those is prayer and Bible study, worship. That time alone with God is going to help be that confirmation for you. Oh, we're getting another photo bomb. I guess this is her new thing. You also want to wait and be faithful. If God is telling you not to rush, you don't want to rush it. This is something that's very hard for me. When God tells me to move, I'm ready to go and I just want to move. And then you want to act on the nudge. You take small steps of faith. Sometimes he's going to tell you to take a major leap of faith. Sometimes he's going to tell you to take a really small step of faith. And then you want to look for that wisdom. Go to somebody that you know has godly wisdom and talk to them. Look for that input. It's got to be somebody that you trust. So this is when God tells you to move, you've got to remember you are in a relationship with God and you are walking a path, so to speak. Keep walking the walk, no pun intended. You are walking a path with God throughout this relationship. It grows your relationship. It develops your relationship. Sometimes it's going to make it very hard. And sometimes you're going to see that when you get finished with the move and you look back, when you thought God wasn't there, he was there the entire time. In fact, he was probably carrying you through that entire move. So get in those prayer closets and see what God's telling you to do. Is God telling you to move? Have a wonderful day. God bless and keep walking the walk.